If you have alcohol in your blood system and you say something to somebody else that's not necessarily assault or battery, and you say something like, hey, go stuff it, I like the Giants, leave me alone, and you get pummeled for that, and you got alcohol in your blood system, what this lawyer's saying is you might still be partly responsible.
Yeah.
No, ain't flying. And you know what's going to happen? A jury, I'll tell you right now, a jury is going to punish the Dodgers if this guy proceeds on that argument. A jury will get offended by that argument because at the end, unless he's got some kind of smoking gun TMZ video that shows Stowe with like a billy club or a lead pipe taking swings at these guys before they, jumped him, that defense ain't flying. And it's just bad form, and I don't understand it. And even if Stowe gave him the middle finger, okay?
Right.
And said, take off or whatever, and gave him the finger, it still doesn't justify being beaten within minutes or seconds of your life into some type of coma. And essentially what this attorney is saying is because he was drinking or may have said something to provoke it, it still doesn't justify it because the response is still incredibly disproportionate. So it's a bad argument, but, it's been a bad week for the Dodgers in the courts. Delaware bankruptcy court,
yeah.
And then this nonsense going on here because, Major League Baseball is definitely trying to take this team away from this guy, as they should. He's just an irresponsible, you know what? I'm not going to pull any punches, Fred. He's a bad guy, all right? Frank McCourt is a bad guy. He's bad for the Dodgers. He's bad for L.A. He's bad for everything. And now I'm reading that he may have pilfered some $186 million,
yeah.
During the ownership of the team.
The term they're using is looted, yes.
Looted, yeah. And you know what? There's another term for that. It's called money laundering.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that he laundered illegal money and then put it through the Dodgers to take it out for his own gain. But fact of the matter is he's using the Dodgers as a laundromat to pay off his personal debts. Probably some of them related to the high lifestyle he and Jamie led.
Let me tell you how ridiculous these people are.
Yeah.
So we read this week about the fact that their insurance company is trying to blame or try to find some blame from Brian Stowe's side. And you read that he looted $186 million. So simultaneously, in the middle of the week, Dodgers announce they're lowering ticket prices for the season ticket holders like by 5%. And they're opening up some seats at a lower price at Dodger Stadium for the everyday type guys. Now, that doesn't balance, but how do what they're saying is we're the stupidest group of people on the face of the earth. Those three things do not balance, folks. 5% discount for season ticket holders versus blaming Brian Stowe for causing his own grief or looting $186 million from the organization so you cannot pay for free agents during the off season so the Dodgers cannot compete with the best teams in baseball in the second biggest media market in the world. No, that doesn't balance, but I actually think, at some point, he's got to take responsibility. Frank's got to take responsibility. We can say it's people under him. He hired these people. So what is he thinking when he reads that lowering ticket prices 5%? He had to okay that. How stupid is this man?
This is a guy who has no sense of reality. This is a guy that is so arrogant and has his head so high up in the clouds that he has lost all perspective on his, well, I don't want to say constituents because he's not a public servant, but clearly on his customers. His clientele are the Dodger fans and the corporations that work with the Dodgers and go to their games or sponsor them. He has lost touch with reality on all fronts. And on that basis alone, he deserves to lose the franchise. But it's not, it's not even a matter of stupidity, Fred. It's a matter of hubris and arrogance. And I guess when you get to do this all throughout your, professional life and you go out there and you make all this dough and you start throwing it all over the place, it's almost like how I feel about the Occupy crew. It's a sense of entitlement. Now, they come from different ends of the spectrum, but fact of the matter is Frank McCourt has a very warped sense of entitlement, which has turned into arrogance, which has turned into loss of complete perspective.
All right, when we come back, I want to talk about the time frame as far as it's concerned, and can he stop a sale if somebody only offers $800 million or $900 million? He needs more than $1 billion to pay off his debt and come out with something. We'll talk at the time frame with JBK. We'll talk to you too at 1-888-909-1050, 1-888-909-1050. We'd love your emails. Get lots of them. SportsFred at AOL.com. SportsFred at AOL.com. He's JBK. I'm FW. Nick's our producer, engineer. Back with a whole lot more right here on the Morning Brew right after this.
Fred Wallen and JBK on Morning Brew. Brew. heart for money. You had a head for sin. Gonna build that spaceship. We're gonna fly it in. I've been hurting, and all I need
is you. KCAA.
Real men stay in the game and ask the hard questions. It's Morning Brew with Fred Wallen, and JBK.
Yeah, it's about 80 degrees. It will be 80 degrees here in Southern California. It's snowing back east where JBK lives, and I don't know, JBK, maybe you ought to move west.
You know, Fred, I got to tell you, you just mentioning the temperature. You're very lucky I'm going to sit in this last segment because I hate you right now for mentioning that. I really do. All right? I can't tell you. It is dark and nasty. You know, we're 3 hours ahead, obviously, so it's, 11:48 EST. It's dark, it's windy, and it feels like the middle of January. I feel like I'm in a tundra, and it's not even Halloween yet. You know who I'm going to punch today if I see them walking down the street?
Who?
Al Gore. He could take his damn global warming and shove it up you-know-where because it doesn't exist. I'm freezing. It's snowing here, and I want to be left alone. I mean, I wasn't even on the air last week because, and I don't know if you can still tell, but I had a really wicked infection that was actually very deserving of the Occupy Wall Street crowd, but unfortunately I'm the one that got it. And it's because the weather has been so nasty in October here. So I don't understand what's going on, but I really don't want to hear anyone tell me it's 85 degrees in the Inland Empire, and I don't want to hear Al Gore today. Is that a fair request?
Yeah, I like Al Gore.
You did one, buddy.
I mean, I'll split the difference. I'll split the difference with you. Let's say it's 50% climate change that we're causing, and 50% just happening in the atmosphere. Shouldn't we cure the 50% that we're causing in any way possible?
I think it's the good Lord mad at Morning Brew. That's what I think it is. You noticed the hurricane came when we were on the air two months ago, and now this big snowstorm. So I'm starting to feel like it's getting personal. But
hey, what do you think about Pat Robertson actually saying that the Republican candidates are too radical to get elected, too extreme to get elected?
I got to tell you something. I saw that headline scrolling across my computer screen. I didn't really go too much deeper into it, but you want to illuminate me on this one? I was a little bit like, what? He was saying that the Republican Party's gotten too
extreme. And this
Pat
is from
Robertson said that?
Yeah, this is from Mr. Extreme. He says there's no way that they can win with the stance that they're taking in the debates. He says you're gonna nominate a loser. You want to lose? Just keep going in the same direction you're going. He said this in the middle of the week. I thought it was funny actually because
Pat Robertson said this.
Yeah, he's 100% correct on his show, morning show.
Find out what he's smoking and where he got it from, because to hear that from him, that's wild.
Well, but these people, folks, it's a sports show and also a political show, and very quickly, give me then we'll talk a little bit of politics. Give me the time frame on this Dodgers sale or forced sale.
Yeah.
What happens here?
Okay, big hearing is scheduled for Monday, October 31st, or is that Tuesday? In any event, October 31st, there's going to be a hearing where there's going to be a motion made on whether or not they should be forced to sell the TV rights to Dodgers, go with an open auction type situation, or go with the previously agreed. You also have the creditors committee now comprising of 2 representative season ticket holders, and you have Major League Baseball going to be making the argument that there's been what they call essentially a white-collar crime committed on the bankruptcy estate, which is the pilfering of some $186 million by the McCourts out of the franchise, and therefore they don't get to have the right of the protection of bankruptcy. I think I explained this once before, which was bankruptcy can be looked at as a sword or as a shield.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy should always be used as a shield to protect yourself from creditors because you are having a hard time, you being the estate, whether you're a personal individual or corporation, you're having a hard time making your payments, and you're going to seek protection to restructure or liquidate, okay? But when you use it as a sword and you use it offensively, which is what the Dodgers are doing against Major League Baseball, judges don't like that. And I think that they are using it as a sword because he's basically lashing out at Bud Selig through the bankruptcy court by saying Major League Baseball is treating them differently than all the other teams. And I'll tell you something, Fred. One thing that I think really hurts the Dodger case here in McCourt is earlier in the month, excuse me, I'm just trying to keep the fluids going down here. Earlier in the month, the bankruptcy court, the judge in Delaware, denied the Dodgers' motion to have access to all of the other Major League teams' financial records.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, it didn't necessarily make all the headlines, But that was a huge decision because basically what Frank McCourt wants to say or argue is that the Dodgers are being singled out and treated differently than every other team by Bud Selig.
Right.
Without that evidence, they can't make that claim.
No, I agree. And again, it's not just the Mets anymore. He's going after how Selig has treated the Florida Marlins and other teams more kindly.
Not getting it.
He's not getting it at this point. But see, I'm anti-Bud Selig for giving this guy the opportunity to loot the $186 million in the first place. You have to be brighter than that. Folks, I'm going to repeat one more time, and you've heard this. I'm acting now like a Republican. I'm going to say something, and it's going to become true. But this is actually true. Frank McCourt had to borrow money from Fox to buy it from Fox. Now, if you're the commissioner of baseball, and we're talking in 2004, and you read that, and you hear that, and you know that, isn't that a red flag enough up there? How high does it have to be, or how red does it have to be to understand this guy does not have he's a multimillionaire, not enough capital to buy into Major League Baseball in a media market like Los Angeles. Selig wanted to get it done, to get it off his back, I guess. He got it done. We see the results.
I understand what you're saying, but I think the fact that Fox kept a secured interest in the team doesn't necessarily mean that McCourt didn't have the ability to purchase the Dodgers at that time. I mean, you hear it all the time where businesses are sold and a restaurant is sold. The new guy comes in, but the old guy still keeps an interest because he didn't get paid entirely, and he's going to get paid out of revenues 5, 10, whatever years, 2 years going forward, however each deal is structured.
Right.
Frank McCourt is a real estate developer, okay?
Right.
And real estate developers get rich by using other people's money. He is an OPM guy, classic OPM guy.
Right.
He may have had the money, or at least on paper, he may have showed the ability to purchase the Dodgers, but because he's an OPM guy, he may have said, hey, Fox, you're going to give me essentially a seller second in the team, and I'm going to pay off X% over the next 5 or 10 years. It looks like it's borrowing, but it may not necessarily be the case. However, if I were Major League Baseball, I definitely want the details of such a deal vetted to me very clearly. And at the time, I guess, well, let me ask you this. What motivation would Bud Selig have, Fred, to let the Dodgers be taken over by a clown like this?
In my belief, seriously, and somebody told me this, and I don't know if it's true or not, Bud Selig did not want another George Steinbrenner on the West Coast. Somebody who would just spend. He knew that the McCourts would not do that. So he's gotten his wish. Now, I don't know if that's true, but somebody on the inside actually told me that Selig wanted somebody the opposite of George Steinbrenner to keep salaries down and to keep payrolls down. And so Selig was willing to concede and accede and to accept this loony bird husband and wife team, these carpetbaggers, who basically have destroyed the great Dodger organization.
Hey, you know what, Fred? I've been following this story pretty closely with you for a long time. That is a seriously major revelation here on Morning Brew. I did not hear that ever before. I know your sources are impeccable. It kind of makes sense. And you know what that means, right? Be careful for what you wish for.
JBK, feel better. Hope the snow stops. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to the beach today. I don't know about you. And
I love you, Fred. I really do.
Hey, Nicholas, thank you too. And you can email me, folks, for the next 24 hours, 7 days a week at sportsfred@aol.com. sportsfred@aol.com, and stay tuned next week, same time, same station, The Morning Brew, AM 1050 KCA. Bye, everybody.
Fred Wallen and JBK on Morning Brew.